game, it kind of ticks on you more, and all those things come into your mind. So hopefully staying very strong in this one. Pole Belter looking to get another win on Zed, who actually hasn't fared too well for him. But they're pushing themselves on things that can carry. And with Inox on Lee Sin, definitely have those cards in place. Gonna have to be a quick game, though. How well do these guys scale into late game if we're looking at EG?
This EG team, well, it's tricky to say. I actually feel like their scaling is fairly comparable to that of Coast. Okay. Really depends on who gets the gold where. Despite having a Lee Sin top who doesn't think to scale well, the rest of the roster can do quite well, but it's really going to be all about these early game rotations, I think.
These ones right here.
Right here. Because EG, with the Dark Binding early, and with the teleport on Lee Sin, holds all the cards. They're the ones that want to make the big move, and Coast are the ones that have to play on the defensive.
EG's always the one to come up with little things to do. Leaving the full team around the side, and it looked like Yellow Pete was all by his lonesome. Obviously, nobody's gonna bite on it, but for the instance, they could have. Always trying to get a quick upper hand in any way possible. Daydreaming starting off with the Relic. Gonna be getting some good gold in and healing for Wiz whenever he can. It's very interesting that both supports opted for the support item, Spell Thieves and Relic Shield, but then didn't get a ward. They opted for extra potions. Daydreaming actually has 4 biscuits because he's utility spec, and Krepo has 3 health potions because he is not utility spec. But that lack of ward means big things here early on. EG's going to do a delayed invade. The ping is actually properly guessed by Coast, and they're going to do the old switcheroo. Cat and mouse has begun. They look like they're going to be finding each other, though. They hear each other on both sides. Wait a minute. That is so dangerous. What Pole Belter's coming back, and he may be privy to this information, but they still sidestep each other, not seeing just yet. It looks like they may meet just out of try, though. Oh, man. Yellow They're just going to walk by each other. What a risky situation. Daydreaming and Wiz should have the full upper hand here. Level 2 gank possibly from Nintendo. Well, they'd have to land everything, and they waited too long at that point. There's still a potential for jungle collision, though. Nintendo is going to see that his blue buff is gone. There was no ward left behind, just a minion. And his rates are being taken right now. Oh, my. No way. Okay. There it is. Oh, they're going to find each other. They couldn't really get it. Nintendo gets hit. He almost didn't know he was found at first. And Snoopy actually wants to peel out of this so they don't backtrack from Coast and Wiz and Daydream and take him. Wow. Nintendo, I think, got very surprised. He probably could have killed him right there because his bottom lane was in position to collapse. And it was more that he was just shocked to find someone there that he ended up running away. Snoopy playing real aggressive. We'll see if Nintendo Dex not really putting himself on tilt here. We'll see how he coordinates with what just happened. There's the piercing arrows from Wiz, but he's still level 1. Yep, EG got to lane a little bit sooner. Mistimed initiation there. It's also incredibly difficult for Daydreamer to lock down anyone. Yeah. As long as EG stays separated, the Black Shield will block the stun. Right. Can't give him the delivery system. It's not something that'll help out your AD carry. You can see how Yellow Pete position in that lane as Shifter's taking some shurikens here from Pole Belter, getting the blades in the right spot. And Daydream putting himself in position for these EQs constantly. Still a fair bit of damage. Comes through. Black Shield doesn't stop that Lucian damage. Pole Belter getting a ward in. It's going to help him a little bit figure out when Nintendo X is going to be coming for him. Nintendo definitely is more present when he has the gap closing junglers, when he has Elise, when he has Vi. But obviously you wait a little bit on Evelyn to make that impact. It's important to note too where Pole Belter put that ward inside the Wraith Pit, because that's when Evelyn will actually be visible while clearing the raids. Standard ward positions really go out the window when you're playing against Evelyn. It's a whole different experience. That Trinket's still being held by Shifter in mid. He feels comfortable. Keep it safe with the distortion always up. And he won't have to ward just yet. Nintendo Dax is going to give a little pressure to the bottom lane, so that will be relieved hopefully everywhere else. And they won't see Snoopy for a counter here if they're in range. Well, if Daydreaming can go in and get the Black Shield burned, it would give Nintendo a window to come in. But he's that's not in the range to. So, desynced right there for Coast. Working out for Krepo. He's getting that Black Shield on as soon as that Shield Daybreak comes in. Gets out very easy, 26 to 30 in that lane. So the pressure only throwing Yellow Pete off a few CS, but with Krepo back, you can see
A little more initiative in that lane to stay in safe farming position for these guys.
And both these bottom lanes have been under a lot of... We're just going to keep seeing that.
Gotta give him credit, he's hitting all of them.
He's landing a lot of these things, and they're still getting a decent amount of damage down on Yellow Pete each time it happens.
We'll see if Wiz Fusion can carry this. With a bit of a lead, you're bullying out the lane bully right now.
Well,
keep it going.
The thing we haven't paid much attention to is Shifter's large advantage really on Pobelter. Really keeping Zed down for now. Whether he can start taking that advantage elsewhere, because LeBlanc is one of those champions who can just take over a game.
Oh, yeah, the damage traits definitely are not helping EG right now. Wiz took a good hit there, but right now the 80 carry is sitting scary.
Confident retrade.
Yeah.
Right there. There's an exhaust on Daydreamer versus an ignite on Crepo, so a little bit more kill potential coming out from EG. Just to note when those guys try to all-in each other.
See how Zion Spartan plays this.
The laning phase of Coast is really good right here. Normally, I would expect EG to play a much more rotation-heavy game. That's what I expected them to do coming into this one, because Coast is known to have superior lanes, and that is how they try and beat opponents. It really feels like EG's playing Coast game.
Zion Spartan says, I have 6, but he activates Dominus very early, throwing off this gank immediately. Nintendo may go down here. Inox level 5, if he had his ult, this would have been a 2v1 coming in for Inox.
Woo. Not the cleanest dive right there, but Inox had some good delaying moves there with the ward jump and the flash being used to keep Coast under turret aggro.
I'd be very careful about Zion here.
Well, he's got full rage, so we can still pop that Q here.
That's right.
When he wants to.
Getting those potions down. They are chugging both potions right now. No more jungler to the top lane. It was just them having what they could. Nintendo X now goes back towards the bottom, and hopefully he'll find that Kazakh Snoopy is in his jungle once again.
Yeah, but even just looking at how these lanes match up, Renekton beating on Lee Sin, how Shifter's LeBlanc was beating up on Pobelter Zed early on, and even this duo lane with Wiz Fusion on his most comfortable champion. Lane swapping was the answer for EG from the very start of this one. I really feel like they're fighting from behind when they didn't necessarily need to. Their team play is their greatest strength as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Very perplexed as to why they decided to lane up against Coast, but maybe it'll pay off.
See what Crepo can still produce. A lot of the calls come from Snoopy and Crepo, the voice on the team. And only a 300 gold lead for Coast right now means that the next dragon fight, or I should say the first dragon fight, is going to be quite even coming from both sides. You got one mid laner that can zero someone out, with the junglers looking to do the same thing from the outside positions. Ooh. Snoopy playing with fire. Playing with fire. Fire's not good.
Back away.
Yep. Rah, 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 rah.
Scary double golem right there. He was just making sure to get level 6. Wants to buy as much as he possibly can when he gets back. Gets the one long sword. He wanted that extra mini. Gets the second one with a little bit of wait time.
Sometimes you just ask nicely. See where Nintendo X is. He's going back for his red, so no presence from him coming out into the jungle. A good push by Zion Spartan in the top lane. Hopefully relieving pressure from Snoopy, but he's leaving Inox up there alone. He's been in the bottom half of the jungle, and they're still warding on that blue buff, giving it high priority for Shifter, or damage on Pobelter. He's already got the blue and wreaking havoc.
The all-in is dicey with LeBlanc. The way that matchup will play out is Zed will try and pop his ultimate as Shifter uses all of his burst.
So you don't get silenced.
Very skill-intensive matchup when they decide to all-in each other. But if Shifter lands that much poke, not even competition, Pobelter has to back.
Goes with the Brutalizer first, a little bit of cooldown, a little bit of armor pen. As he comes back to lane, he's also going to have that sword on top of it.
This bottom lane, now that there's a couple level 6s, is going to be all about baiting out the Black Shield and then getting double engagements. We mentioned how the Zenith Blade was landing fairly easily for Daydream, and he's going to have to land that and then come back later. But a gank opportunity, top lane, Snoopy double buffs.
Well, one up to the top, one up to the bottom, so it's going to be a gank on both sides of the map. Zion Spartan with a nice slice and dice out, but the cripple goes down, pretty much negating the movement he just closed. And 8, it's going to be bad for him. 2 level 8s. They're going at it, but the level 7, now Snoopy, able to throw up the fight. Nintendo X actually stopped the gank in the bottom lane because of the wards.
Surprised that Zion decided to use his flash. As soon as he got kicked back, he was pretty much dead. He tried his best to get as big a heal off his Q and the mini wave as he could, but Good gank there by Snoopy. It took a while. The laning phase has really calmed down. Nintendo has not made a presence on Eve despite the laning phase. And it's Snoopy who ends up getting the first kill for his laner.
He's got a pink ward he's going to be walking into here as well. The team pings him out on it, but maybe they'll try to clear it out. With EG out of lane, this is very dangerous for him. He's kind of just guessing right now.
Some time.
Okay, the team comes over.
Yeah, he had the bottom lane support.
Buddy system. Dragon's up. Gonna have to be seeing who wants to get their way over to that first. Nintendo X is hovering towards the top side, thinking he may counter, as Shifter is pressing middle. But he's not gonna find any aggression other than Pole Belter.
Very subdued game so far.
Yeah, we had some high kills coming in. And if not high kills, the first fight brought us at least 4 or 5 from each side.
Last game?
And yeah. Nintendo, once again, not really getting anything out of these. Just the knowledge of where Snoopy is.
Yeah, he is struggling to find opportunity right now. Doesn't necessarily want to gank Lee Sin, but Inox with that Tiamat before Zion Spartan does. It's a warp fight. He wants to get it down.
Oh.
Is the question.
The wet noodles. They do so much damage. It's all right.
Very tanky crocodile.
Inox kind of just put himself in there. He's like, all right, every punch for every hit on the ward. We'll go 1 for 1. Neither of them could punch harder. 14.4. Gold is completely even across the map as they try to separate a little bit of it here. A little too aggressive. It seems like things are kind of going off hinge. A little too fast for these ganks.
Well, they know Snoopy's ultimate is down. But Snoopy knows Nintendo is here. Deathmark's still up. Nintendo might get turned on.
Agony's Embrace goes in. Whoa! That was a hunk of damage Nintendo wishes he had right now. Shifter can't even really trade back as they kite into that pocket. No re-engage there. 12 minutes in, bottom lane. A wave advantage of just 3 casters. Pushing off Yellow Pete and Kreppel right now.
That mid-fight goes to show the value of isolation right there. But finally the land. Now the question is, do they go back again? Once the Black Shield is off, you could still ultimate and try to chain something together. There's no flash on Kreppel, mind you.
I like this. Wiz and both Yellow Pete have that champion that can fire out a quick Q, get a little long-range damage, and then they have the other one. It'll just hit you in an AoE. Trade back and forth. It's pretty cool to watch between that lane. The ward comes in from Shifter, but they only get the timer on that dragon. Better than nothing to have, but they are now down 1,000 gold. Daydreaming, looking like he could get a lockdown here, but nobody's following on his heels. He's just doing it for the pressure.
Coast out of sorts right now. I do have to say, EG really seems to be beating Coast at their own game. Coast, when they're struggling, defaults back to just trying to win lanes and rely on their individual skill, and that is generally what EG is doing right now, with the off gank from Snoopy, which has been much more effective than Nintendo X's. So EG actually neglecting their team play a little bit and coming out ahead strictly through laning.
We've seen a heck of a lot more team rotating going on today. Now EG, like you said, in the laning phase is able to find wins. See if Shifter gets the roam on. We haven't seen him actually going to too many lanes. We talked about how promotion tournament and before they were really playing the roaming teams, something that could take control of the entire map. And here they're kind of constricted.
Yeah, I'm wondering when Shifter's going to get involved. Still no boots. Much different than Voyboy's boots of mobility rush. Fast boots. Not a huge fan of the fast boots on the block. I like Shifter's style a little bit more. He's all about getting to the point of ability power where he can one-shot.
Yeah.
But if they spend too long in this laning phase, EG's going to take him down. Inox's Lee Sin gets the turret. Golf claps all around.
Golf claps indeed. First turret, 14 minutes. We still only have 1 kill on the board. It seems like every game today has just kind of been slowing down a little bit more in pace. Teams are having a harder time figuring out how to get under each other's skin. Snoopy back to the jungle. Both junglers are at 9. Top laners at 10. Nobody's grabbed any advantage in this game. It's pretty much even across the board.
Yeah, EG ever so slightly getting ahead in items. With the Ravenous Hydra being completed on Inox. Very aggressive early. Wonder if he's going to try and make plays or just continue to be that split pushing force.
A lot more teams putting down just those hovering pink wards, we'll call them. On their side, but just enough to see the outside of where the team would be entering into the jungle. They're keeping a spot where they will have all the control they need. 2,000 gold behind now. It's about 1,000 still. We'll see if Coast can rock this one down on the bottom turret.
I wonder 134 to 120. So WizFusion definitely playing with a bit more confidence down bottom, but we really get to see come team fights how well he can position on Varus, who is quite a vulnerability against Zed Kha'Zix. Ganks all around.
That was a very nice chain, getting it as he went back. So Pole Belter couldn't trade damage, but was still slowed for the further damage coming in from Shifter. Like you said, mechanics in that lane are crazy.
Yeah, in that top lane, double ultimates were burned by Inox, just for the expense of his flash. So he's really doing a number on.
He's enjoying the 2v1 situation.
Staying in though was a big miscalculation.
Doesn't have the kick. If he had the kick, that would have been great positioning, but Coast also wouldn't have put himself in that spot. A little bit of an error there, chalked up for Inox.
Huge error at that point for Inox. He had just dodged the gank. He could have expected Coast to still be there, and that cost him a turret and a kill.
Bottom lane, Pink warded out. Snoopy taking a good bit from WizFusion, so the gank won't go anywhere, but he may be able to return now and get some work done on that bottom lane. Shifter still getting his blue buff with the amount of, not wards they put on the blue buff, but Krepo was over there warding. EG hasn't been back to stop Shifter from getting it.
No, Shifter's farm is quite reliable, and he's at the point now where he can clear out waves as well. Coast also back into the game, thanks to that fortunate turn of events in the top lane.
Yep.
Really, they had no business getting that kill on the turret. But now EG needs to play with that. Inox needs to not let it affect his mentality on Lee Sin. But it's tough when you make a mistake like that to put it at the back of your mind.
Very, very deep ward. You can actually
super aggressive.
They put in the Wolf camp. Like you said, got to be in the camp to see Eve, and they do find out where he is. The Pink ward now figuring out where Nintendo is trying to path. So the worry from EG can really be put on trying to counter gank this. Zion Spartan comes to mid. They're going to call Inox down, make it a little fight.
Trying to get as much pressure on that mid turret as possible, but not much doing there. Zed clears the wave too well from range.
What could Coast be looking to do? Is it all the wait for the dragon in 1 minute? Everybody's kind of milling about. It's not even ward wars right now. They're warding their own sides.
Yeah, Coast is really just looking to prolong this laning phase. I think they want Shifter to get to a point where he can start one-shotting people. And they're going to look to make plays off of that. But maybe they'll combo up.
Wow.
WizFusion has maxed Q, by the way. Stand in front.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to max Q, but with the way they're playing this lane, it makes a lot of sense. He's landing some really good harassment. That max piercing arrow.
We'll see if he goes for the Legolas build, the Last Whisper next. Right now he's only got that Bloodthirster. They're going to get this turret. It'll be quite nice for Coast. It's a bit of a surge in power here. They also kind of take pressure off if they're to go for the dragon. EG can only run towards mid now.
Zion, though,
Rutro.
probably going to have to... Ooh, does he have burnt flash?
Should be okay. No, the kick.
Yep.
Nice ward placement. He could be able to slice and dice if it's up. Flash is out. Flashes, and I believe he's going to go down with that flash going down as well. It's going to take a little bit more, but EG is able to come up with a kill in the top lane. Kind of retribution there for Inox.
But the timing is a little bit fortunate here, actually, for Coast. They might lose some interior turrets, but they got to be able to take something back. The dragon is up in a second, and the mid turret is low. What is Coast going to do in this situation?
Well, it's trying to take a little bit more along with that. Blue, or red rather, is going to go down when they lose top. Now in position for Dragon, and Nintendo Dex is there. Smite up, of course, and they should be able to secure this without problem. It would help. They're down 2K right now. The surge would put them
Four
right back
people
in.
here. Makes it a little bit too unsafe to hold, but what are the rotations going to be like? EG now has 4 people that ran straight towards that mid turret, and Coast wants to make it in. Will they get cut off? They got to go a long way around. Release him a bit.
Inox has teleport. He can be on this fight at any point in time. If a ward is placed, a very good initiation, but the spread out helps prevent a lot of damage from the Agony Embrace.
This Black Shield could end up being a real pain for Coast. When Morgana had just gotten the Spell Thief's Edge change, Krepo was first picking the Morgana that entire week. They've survived the laning phase. I actually want to compare the gold on the support items since it's mainly been a laning phase. Krepo's gotten 500 when you add it together, versus 514 from the Targon's Brace. So very equal gold distribution as far as those bottom lanes are concerned.
This should be the turret. Actually, the team backs off. Too much front end from the team. Zion and both daydreaming being there. It was a little too scary. Inox now to the bottom lane.
Kill him if he gets a nice Q off.
It's only the Lizard. He does have the Ninja Tabis, but it's not going to negate that much damage. More than he thought, though. Didn't want to take the Q. Also sees Renekton coming out on the left side, so very good choice. Inox not playing too crazy as he gets himself into almost a kill situation.
Inox, because he was in that tough lane matchup with Renekton, actually maxed his W, his Iron Will second, his E first, and he only had 1 point in Q, which is why he couldn't necessarily fully assassinate right there. It's a good build for the top lane, but that's just why W10D2 wasn't in as much danger as I first thought.
All right, split open the map here. The final shot. Lil Pete's like, I don't care about aggro. What's aggro? 30,000 to 28.4. EG slightly taking the lead. Dragon has been dropped recently. So what will be able to happen here? EG moving off the ball. Another turret for them. So the surge of gold now in their favor.
Yeah, definitely EG using Inox's roam for their benefit. Just a correction, he maxed his W first in lane for Lee Sin and then his E, but they're both maxed now.
Right.
So even more defensive in lane than I first thought.
Blade of the Rune King almost finished for Pole Belter. Had a little bit of damage on top of that ultimate, but the Deathfire Grasp from Shifter ready to be used. Another blue buff surrounding him and just able to spit out that damage rapid fire. He is sitting in the wing. Damage he's looking to do. Easy to push off this turret, but they'll actually have it once they get it up to the wave. See everybody gathering in middle. Inox's teleport is down, but he will still tend to the side lane for now.
It's really surprising how these teams have done the push-pull and those 4 turrets to 3 without any huge action happening. This is actually the first definitive push of the game right here. This game may explode right off this moment.
Ooh. Well, it only blocks so much spell damage.
Yeah, well, here comes Snoopy with the stealth. There's the fight.
To Zion Spartan, his first jump. And it looks like they are not going to get the damage they want. Leona's going to be the first one they can activate on. A nice 3-turn Agony's Embrace. Down to the other side. Pole Belter tries to get the Death Mark down. Wiz Fusion's going to pop, and he does so. Inox trying to get some more kills. A great Tempest and Cripple kept the team all in one spot. EG's able to now pick and choose who they want to focus, but they're still trying to put a lot of damage on Zion, and he's done a great job of putting himself in front.
Just the fancy footwork here by Evil Geniuses, granting them 2 kills and no deaths. They continue the aggression, though. Yellow Pete staring LeBlanc and Renekton in the face.
Yeah, playing with fire. Everybody's playing with fire this game on the side of EG, but so far coming out unburned, really. 33 as they pick up a little bit of gold on that.
Take another look at this one. Yeah, Snoopy landed a pretty nice slow in. Really just pay attention to where Coast focuses their damage. Remember, there's no DFG on Shifter because he'd blown it a little bit earlier. All the damage went down to Snoopy while he was damage reducing, and then he flashed out. Whereas Wiz Fusion is the one who had all the damage from EG, and he is actually able to be taken down. So at that point, it is a bit of an unfair fight, and this is the strongest point in the game, I feel like, for Inox's Lee Sin. One of the big reasons he was able to dive so far in and still get out alive. With that maxed Iron Will, Big Shield and Lifesteal coming out for Lee Sin.
Just at that last second, you're expecting to kill somebody, and Lee Sin comes flying in. EG getting the last of everything they need just in the end of that fight. Kept him alive, but it keeps him in the lead. Turrets are all tied up, though, so the map pressure is coming from whatever wards and whatever position each team can gain right now. Not full items, but 2 core items on each side, I should say.
Yeah, this is one of these strange games where I actually feel like the team with Lee Sin is better in team fights with the top lane Lee Sin because of how strong Inox is right now, and because of the vulnerability of Wiz Fusion in these team fights against the Zed, Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, just super dive.
Look at the wards that Coast has in the jungle right now. There is literally no fog from mid down to the red buff. And the only place they don't have wards is the one they can already see. So Dragon should be theirs in 30 seconds. I'd be surprised if EG can make it through that without Coast having a great initiation.
Well, with the teleport on Inox, there's a chance they could force it around properly.
That's true.
It's just a matter of wading away through their jungle without getting picked off by a DFG LeBlanc, which is the biggest threat right now. If they can find a way to make it near the Dragon Pit, though, they get a 5v4.
It doesn't have to be right on it. Nien's teleports were somewhat far away in today's CLG game, and he was still able to produce some amazing results. EG knows they're really afraid of the fog of war right now because of all that Coast has had and every chance they've had to ward up this spot.
Where they
It's
go?
the first move.
Renekton is here, close enough.
Right down onto Pobelter. He gets locked down as the shield didn't really hit him just yet. Wiz Fusion on the backside. Pobelter, he's going to get him. That's a huge kill, and he gets out almost unscathed. They could turn this one around. Zion Spartan in the right spot at the right time. Yellow Pete a little too deep on that one, and he will go down without being able to pick up one for himself. 3 kills for 1.
Inox decides not to teleport into that fight despite the great start by Pobelter. Now he gets a turret, but it costs his team 3 deaths here. Very interesting decision by Evil Geniuses. Up to 4,000 gold after all is said and done. I've got to take another look at that fight.
Kind of see why how crazy Yellow Pete went there, giving Inox more time in the top lane. You usually don't dive into 5 people as an AD carry, but when you want to buy some time, it's an all right thing to do.
Every once in a while, Inox getting the red steal on the way out as well. This game got rather interesting with that decision. Another look at this fight. Obviously, the dragon was stolen by Snoopy. And then, because of the black shield, Pobelter was able to sneak all the way through Coast. And at this point, you're like, yeah, we got it. Which meant EG went a little bit overconfident. They thought they'd have the lockdown from Crepo, but actually, Shifter actually bursted the support, not the AD carry. Because the black shield is really the kryptonite of Coast, and they did not want that lockdown from the Morgana chains there.
A lot of back and forth there, but overall, that inhibitor turret in the top was taken down. It's all up to Inox now to get back to that position, re-push his lane. We'll see if the next fight can really go in favor of Evil Geniuses. It's a very big back and forth that only left EG with a bit of a gold lead because Snoopy getting in and stealing that dragon. Quite nice.
Yeah. The kills have actually fallen into Nintendo X's hands on Eve. 3-0 right now. About to finish his round with. That's actually pretty key against a heavily AD composition on Evil Geniuses. If you can get into the right parts of these fights. But what they really need for Coast is for Shifter to get a little bit more one-shot power so he can go on the bonk people.
Seeing all these Warden males, but there's a Spirit Visage, a lot of Hax Drinkers as well. I was going to say, EG's passing up a bit of magic resistance. They've already got it in. They realized that Nintendo, that Shifter are going to be putting out huge amounts of damage. Now they're able to work on that armor, because Wiz Fusion, he's able to pierce out quite quick. Didn't decide to go for the Last Whisper. Actually went Phantom Dancer in that build. And applying those blights faster doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, well, he needs to find a way to stay alive when Pobelter gets to him. That's the one unsolved problem right here for Coast. Black Shield on his Zed means a very dead Wiz Fusion.
211, 209 in that lane. I definitely see Yellow Pete a little more comfortable having Crepo back in the saddle there in the bottom lane. And EG, more movement across the map. Yeah. Been a little bit better as a team.
Yeah, their team play is coming in handy right now since they were able to win the laning phase. Now the question becomes, how big of an impact can Inox have in the split pushing game? Even though they were able to expose an inhibitor, it cost them a couple kills. Dragon Steel was very nice. Kind of bailed them out from that being a disaster. Is Inox too much for Zion Spartan to handle? Really trying to give Zion a taste of his own medicine. Zion's normally the guy demanding multiple people be sent for him.
So what could Coast be looking for with somewhat of that pick? You got to get Evelyn in the right spot. How do you get around this EG team?
Well, Coast needs to get a bit of map control back, I think is the biggest thing. Just so they can get a DFG onto the right target before EG can really react to it. The other thing is if EG gets a heavy dive and somehow Wiz Fusion doesn't go down, would be a big thing for them. But right now they're just under too much split push pressure.
Losing warding as well. They have what they need up towards Baron, but if you remember just a few minutes ago, we were talking about no fog in the bottom half of that jungle. Now they're forced to ward up their own jungle just to stay safe. Crepo doing that as well, so they can make sure to get the upper hand. It's cleared out quickly by Daydreaming, but this is going to be tough to guard.
Yeah, Dark Binding, pretty key right there.
They go in anyways, and it's going to be the shutdown coming in for Yellow Pete. They're looking at Zion Spartan now. Daydreaming also on the front line and taking too many turret shots. EG's going to have to back off on this one.
Wow.
The pursuit there from Coast. There's going to be Zion in the front line, slicing and dicing through some minions, trying not to get blocked up, but the team will not follow.
Really big Varus ultimate there to keep them locked down, but it wasn't enough because Shifter wasn't there. That fight was forced while Shifter was off wave clearing. So it was a smart force by EG and to get a kill out of it, but really not much past that.
No team is really allowing anything to be given up in these fights. They know it's going to mean a lot of base on either side. You have a mid lane to rush down for Coast and an open inhibitor on the top side. So Coast is trying to stop anything from getting closer to their base. EG keeps peppering this turret right now, only with Inox. His teleport's up so he can be present in any other fights around the map. You gotta expect that 30 seconds, the Dragon is definitely gonna be something EG wants to force Coast into a fight so they can grab more.
Yeah, especially if Pobelter can get a clean shot on the Wiz Fusion. And we gotta note, this is like a playoff game for these guys.
Right.
While we have,
earlier.
yeah, this was actually what Zion mentioned yesterday after their victory, is how there's the Cloud9, TSM, CLG trifecta. They're fighting for that #1 in the top 2, whereas this EG Coast XGG are fighting for the last playoff spot and to hopefully avoid the Summer Promotion Tournament. EG, though, with the superior map control, just gets the strength for free.
Coast could take this as well. 1 game back from being 5th. That's not too shabby.
Yeah, remember, though, they're 3-0 against EG on the year. But Crepo's triumphant return, potentially. He's played a very good game on Morgana so far. Incredibly controlled, quite slow. But the Black Shields have been on point when they need to be.
Yeah, he's gone back to that Morgana time after time, and the play has only gotten better, of course. The rest of the team using the sweepers as they have him. EG is trying to just encroach on any vision that Coast has and push it all the way back to the front of the base. Only 32 minutes into this one. Like we said, it was slow. Slow kills, slow in turrets, and we really haven't gotten any surge. Every time there's a fight, you see 1 or 2 kills and nothing else is taken after that. See who can grab the lead. The majority trying to look for Shifter to get a kill. With low mana right now, Coast is kind of just on the farm roll. Who can soak up the most?
Well, Void Staff and level 16. I mean, Shifter is at the point where he can completely kill somebody. Still very little magic resist built on most of the EG team. If they find someone, whoa, Shifter will get him. Oh, Yellow Pete.
Wait a minute.
That was through Barry,
out.
By the way.
He's good.
If Shifter would have landed his full E, that would have been a dead AD carry. Dangerous game he's playing right there.
Dangerous game for the next 5 minutes for him as well. Yeah, he has relentless pursuit, but LeBlanc on the other side is now just going to have eyes on target on the back of a flashless AD carry.
Yeah, no Barry either, and a very bold Baron call. This has got to be some type of force. There's no DFG left working out on Shifter. I imagine Coast has to peel for this fight.
They don't have super Baron damage either.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful. Inox teleport in. Solar Flare is only a slow. Invisible for Snoopy. A 3-person Dragon Kick on the backside, and it looks like Pobelter goes down instantly. He is zeroed out from Shifter's front end damage. Snoopy jumping over the wall. Crepo delivers 1 last binding.
Wow.
It looks like they stopped that one off. 2 kills on the solo lane.
They take out Pobelter before he can get off a death mark. Amazing right there by Coast. They're going to continue to try and force this.
A lot of damage.
They really, really want this Baron. Not going down very fast.
No, not at all. If they can get a good Tormented Soil over the wall as well, that magic debuff they're receiving from Baron, this is going to be painful. Shifter making sure he's not the one to be taking damage. You can see the fog of war that EG is seeing right now. Shifter would have been pretty much clear on that engage, but EG has to give it up. And Coast starts grabbing the bottom rungs of the ladder here to climb back in.
Very aggressive call there by Coast, and it pays off so well. That was really why they were just waiting for Shifter to farm. Farm and farm and farm, because they waited for him to make a play.
Yeah.
Then they try to take advantage directly off of that one, and it ends up granting them the Baron. So let's take another look at this just to see how Pobelter gets locked down. Pay attention to Zed right here, because the fight gets moved and he's trying to sneak in the back, but the instant he looks there, Spartan gets him with the stun before the Black Shield went on. A half second before. If EG could have Black Shielded him, he gets in the back, he kills Wiz Fusion. This is a completely different game. But Pobelter went down because of the stun, and Coast gets the Baron. That's going to make this game a lot longer.
Yeah.
EG had the advantage. Now that it's came back this way, Coast still doesn't fully have it. They either, they're just kind of waiting for gold, waiting for objectives. They're waiting a very wait-and-see playstyle, trying to just find the catches. And now EG is going to be scared of that too.
Yeah, 4,000 gold is not something they're just going to dive into a fight with. To them, they may think that they're pretty even in gold right now because this game has been just that. Evil Geniuses have had the fight prowess to really put themselves on top. But now Coast with the strategic play of that Baron, and Shifter is going to be big in this game. We've always been looking at him on Coast to be the carry.
Yeah.
See if he can do it. Zion Spartan's had the pretty, it's not bad, but it's been a level game for him. So it's going to be really on Shifter for this one.
Wait a second. Zion Spartan. He's got a Seeker's Arm Guard in there. That is a little bit strange, I feel like. I've heard of Zani's Hourglass being a defensive item on AD carries when there's high assassination potential, but Renekton's another beast. Let me check his AP ratios there. Yeah, he has one of them on his ultimate, I guess.
Bam!
Yeah.
Maybe he's just been talking to Darian.
He's got a, is that a 1-to-1 on his ultimate? Yeah, 1-to-1 per second on his ultimate, so a little bit of AP on Renekton. I don't necessarily agree with that, but he's going that way. A lot of stat gain from Seeker's Arm Guard.
Hey, you want him to be a hard carry, he's going to build damage. Pink Wards again going down on the side of Coast. This looks a little bit better. Even though they're on their side, it means they know they can hold that area. They're gaining more ground on their side. It's just been everything in their face. The top inhibitor turret actually has not been hit up yet. It's not been something EG feels they can go for. A little odd seeing that go down so quick and get no attention since.
EG's really just been confined here by the great kill potential of Shifter. Seeker's Arm Guard for Zion Spartan, keeping him tanky against Lee Sin.
Over 100,000 gold between these two teams. Only 6 kills, 5-4 in turrets here. It's definitely been a way to get around your opponent without getting the fight in for both of these teams. It looks like they may be forcing each other into this one though. The blue buff going to be forced to smite out here. And it's obviously going to go to Nintendo. Snoopy's is down.
Notice how far back Wiz Fusion's playing in these fights. He's just in range of his piercing arrow until they get a little bit of lockdown on the Pobelter Zed.
Any wrong move right now, Jat, definitely means that something big is going to happen against your team. Daydreamin being the first one up here. Saw him using that face of the mountain a little earlier ago in his fight. Didn't help too much.
Big initiation.
Oh.
Using the Baron buff to brute force things down.
Yeah.
EG knew they had no yellow Pete there, so they had to back away. Not really a risky move there by Daydream. It just appeared so. This fight will go on forever.
It has been.
Yep. Don't think it's ever going. I don't think they're ever going to kill each other.
Always hoping for that different outcome. You're probably not going to get it. Looking at what our completed builds are here, we just see 3 full items on most of EG. A lot of people are going for that Negatron cloak now, trying to get out a little bit of magic resistance. Nobody wants to get popped by Shifter. He will make it happen. EG puts 4 in power here as they make their way down the left side of the Dragon.
Yeah, big Dragon Force. Fairly critical here because you know that they're looking a little bit vulnerable here. If EG can get the right initiation. Another steal!
Ah, Snoopy coming up big. He turned around though. The team is not going in with the rest of them. That was not even a teleport coming in. Inox tried to get himself into the fight, but the team could not follow that gap close.
Yeah, and a flash over the wall down on the bottom side to catch Snoopy.
Chains on. He does get a nice leap away, however. They won't follow, but still quite big. Snoopy got some good gold for the team. It's only a 3,000 gold lead.
2 Dragon Steals on Snoopy, and how critical is that going to be? But Daydreamin catches one.
There's the Soul Shackle. He's forced to walk out using it defensively. Pobelter, that Chain of Corruption hits! They're able to follow up on it, and Coast doesn't have the minion wave here. I don't know if they're going to be able to do what they want, but the top wave is looking good.
How many Chain of Corruptions did Wiz Fusion miss yesterday, and how critical is this one to take down Zed? Now they can push onto this inhibitor turret.
The first time that Coast has been able to step foot in the base of EG, and it looks like they are going to turn that top half to shambles. The inhibitor will go down. Great plays coming out of Coast here, only working a little bit off of what they had earlier, and they're able to get a lot.
Yeah, really, really good turn there after losing the Dragon. I mean, think of how much different this game would actually be if Snoopy hadn't smite stole 2 of these Dragons already, because Coast is showing a great propensity for these team fights. with Shifter being able to chase people down and Wiz Fusion being able to land critical chain of corruptions thus far.
Good bros, Sarin out CS in the jungle.
Zion Spartan sold the Seekers.
Yeah, he did.
For Warmogs. I was getting ready for that. Zanya's, his ultimate is going to do so much more damage. Really, it seems like it's on a pretty respectable ratio. 1.0 per second? Like, that's absurd.
Are you going to go
that would be, that would
do that when you get home now?
That would be one of the best ratios in the game. Yeah. But, goes for the Warmogs. They don't need that extra max damage.
Given the solo queue ideas, Jat.
I'm going to have to double check that ratio when I get home as well. Because I can see it in the tooltip, but he had such a small amount of ability power, there's rounding and stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not 1.0, it's 0.1. Yeah, that's a little bit worse.
Math.
Yeah, that's a little bit worse, Rip.
Because math.
Yeah.
We'll see how they go at this Baron Coast. A little bit more damage on this one. They're going to be able to rock it down. And they're not going to get too much off it either. No contestation from EG. They will start backing off of this. They don't get any slows on. But Jat, this is going to be tough now. Inox is doing what he can, and he will back off instead of going straight down.
Coast is assuming control of the game here, but there is still the Z factor right here. No GAs necessarily built. There is a Zonies on a Shifter and a QSS for Wiz Fusion, so they are the ones who can somewhat stop Zed's burst. But I honestly feel like at this point, Pobelter does enough damage that even if the Deathmark is QSS'd by Wiz Fusion, he could still die to a Zed combo.
And looking at Coast and EG, it's kind of like coming into this one. I feel like these teams almost mirror each other. Their solo lanes carry, AD carry and support, or a lane that somewhat, you know, can come out of nowhere, or they'll kind of fall behind and play with the team as they go ahead. And that's why I think why we're seeing such an even game.
Yeah, we're really seeing that here. And even though EG had a kind of a stronger team play style, they didn't show it in this game. And they instead just laned straight up against Coast, who are now more in their comfort zone because they've taken this laning phase and they've gotten Shifter to a very farm state. And when he's fed on the block, Coast plays very well because they can key off of his plays.
When you have the confidence of a guy who will flash face first into 4 people and get a quadra kill, it helps a little bit. We'll see if they get that confidence here as they push on the second inhibitor turret of the game. Coast is making quick work of any advantage they have. They are not waiting back. They're trying to go for more right away. A nice culling to give the turret breathing room from Yellow Pete. An ultimate down though. See if it's going to help stave off the full attack.
Yeah, a lot of tankiness on Zion Spartan and Super Minions pushing in. They might just go really hard here if he tries to contest. Where's the Black Shield on a Pobelter for an aggressive move? That's what I'm waiting for.
Snoopy throwing himself in. Krepo is not going to be able to deliver that shield. Snoopy goes down instantly in the fight. No, he lives. The ultimate damage reduction helps him stay alive, but it's going to be Shifter with the damage getting one down. Pobelter falls. Krepo goes down in the end, and it looks like they are going to wreak havoc on this inhibitor as well. They may be able to go for the full win. Wait a minute. Healthy people coming off the base, Chat. It could be staved off.
Yeah, 3v5, but the Baron buff is still there. That's 2 inhibitors down. Coast just going. They got Super Minions on the other side.
Wiz Fusion can't get himself in range of these Nexus turrets. There's no focus there. It's just locked onto Zion Spartan. EG is trying to micro in and out to save themselves from damage. Snoopy goes for the micro in, and the focus on to Nintendo X as he gets a kill. Shifter almost goes down in that one. No, he will. Sliver of health left. Stays alive. Shifter with the plays. Here we go. Inox may take him down, but the Zanya's play. Everybody jumps on one spot. All the eggs in one basket. He's still alive. Shifter finally goes down to the end.
Double ace.
The last breath and the double ace. Nobody's going to end the game.
Oh, man. Well, no matter what happens, the whole game was worth it at this point because we just got our first double ace I think we've ever had in the LCS. The inhibitor responds as EG comes in and Krep was able to defend that one. Let's take another look.
That was awesome.
Obviously, Coast tried super hard to get these Nexus turrets down, and they ended up taking a little bit too much aggro. But the reset potential is very real for Snoopy. Goes in, jumps out, stays safe. And then Shifter is so low.
I couldn't even follow him.
Well, yeah. The crazy thing about all this is what actually happened with Shifter. Because the Zanya saved him here, and here we think he's dead. So he jumps out, Does he jump back in? Yeah.
And then he distorts the double.
He immediately came back to his old one, and then he used his mimic distortion to blow people up.
Word.
And then, while the W was in the air for Lucian, Renekton finished him off, and the W finished him as well. That's how double aces happen.
Very cool. Both hands played.
Ardent
awesome.
Blaze was the name of that Lucian.
Yep, the Ardent Blaze on W. Whew. All right.
That's cool.
Then we're still even. I love it.
73,000,
73, 1310. The turrets, not so much even. Let's talk about statistics that are even. The game itself, Coast has gotten themselves a great lead off of these Barons.
And that last fight wasn't actually too clean, as far as anything is concerned.
Be honest.
Yeah, well, the big thing is Pobelter didn't get his Black Shield on himself. Crepo got bursted down by Shifter and had to shield himself, which meant when Pobelter went in, he was vulnerable to crowd control. If they can get that combo working, I still think EG can win fights, even if Coast has won so many fights in a row. Based on Shifter's power right now, 756 ability power, DFG LeBlanc. I don't know if anyone can withstand that burst. So,
well, we get to find out here today.
Yeah. Up next.
As seen on TV. 46 minutes on the clock. This one is going for the long haul, and both teams are ready to play for it. They know what needs to be done here. Obviously, in that last fight, there's no last man standing. And I don't think it's going to be that way again.
For a second, I thought since it was a double ace and inhibitors were down that the minions were just going to finish the game. But luckily, the inhibitor respawned and the other inhibitor just fallen, so the minions hadn't made it all the way through. Maybe we'll get another double ace. You never know.
Zion Spartan pushing mid. They still have a little bit of room to work with here on the side of Coast. Usually you say a team has room to make mistakes. Coast might have room for one mistake, but they don't want to make it. Right now playing very safe, hard hats on in the outside wall of EG's base, and Crepo is just looking for that one dark binding they need.
So dangerous right now. Coast is pretty willing to brute force this down because there is not even Nexus turrets defending, so EG has to go right away.
Minions in the bottom lane, they jump to the back. Shifter looking at the health bars of Wiz and Shifter in this one. Shifter's out of the fight. Clone goes down on that one. Zanya's to the back line. A lot of EG is playing catch up here to get back in. They do take down Shifter. A good hit up from Crepo, but he goes down in the fight as well as they trade supports. Coast may be able to turn this one around now as EG is kiting, not fighting. It looks like the inhibitor in the bottom goes up, but Coast is on top.
Yeah, the game probably would have ended from the minions, but the inhibitor respawned, which meant the Nexus was untargetable, and a bunch of minions got confused in the base. They did take down Shifter, and this extends this ridiculous game. See, the minions can't hit anything. They can only fight other minions right now.
They don't know where to go.
Poor fellas.
Poor fellas indeed. Another great fight from both teams that keeps the gold relatively even, and you can see how many activatable items are being used in this game. At Panza.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
I think everybody's entertained.
Yeah. It became entertaining at this point. The game has definitely stretched here. Coast gets there. Yet another Baron right there. Whee! For the drop down to see exactly how many. 10 turrets killed. Baron number 3 for Coast, that's what I thought. Only 1 dragon because Snoopy got so many steals. Another reason this game has reached this point. Max items starting to come in all around as well. I can't believe Snoopy just went in by himself right there without a GA and still lived. Goes to show you the power of a tanky-ish Kha'Zix build with that 50% damage reduction from his ultimate.
He used that ult right. We saw him get hit up quite hard from a LeBlanc, and he was right as rain. Feeling good to get back in the fight, even with all that ability power. I'm sure it's going to sting as it just keeps growing from Shifter. This game is getting crazy.
Shifter can't get any more unless he sells his boots. Oh, Daydream.
Nobody can get caught out right now. This means life and death, but mostly death.
216 armor on Daydream as well without activating that Eclipse, the W on Leona. It's a hefty man to kill. This is rather dangerous, Crepo.
Oh my word.
Oh.
There's one. Oh.
Whoa. Yeah. Maybe he was hoping to force a flash or something. Trying to confuse Coast and thinking everyone was in that brush.
All right.
Explosion inhibitors.
Back to priorities.
Baron buff.
Yep. Coast
seen this before. It's a double ace.
Deja vu. Double ace incoming. There's only one more turret on the map. 11 turrets are on each side. 10 have been taken down for Coast. They just need one more.
In all honesty, EG is hoping for a catch. If they do get caught in a straight-up 5v5, but they will probably lose this game.
Oh, Crepo. Who's watching the backside, guys? They're good, though. Nobody can cut the pie on that one. Crepo gets back. Getting the Dark Bindings from the Fog of War, so he's keeping his percentage up. And they approach now into the base again, Jat.
Shifter and Zed are two huge priorities in this fight. Also, since the AD carries have so many items, they're the other two big ones here. Will Fusion or Yellow Pete go down?
Whoa. Talisman of Ascension.
Here comes Snoopy.
They go into the fight. They're piling on each other. Nobody can really target. Wiz Fusion in the back. Very, very low. Only needs a Shuriken. Blade of the Rune King comes out. Ignite's going to take him down.
Pete.
Yellow Pete goes in hard and fast on the pursuit, and it looks like he gets another one. Whoa! Exploded out. The shock and awe coming from Shifter. There goes Snoopy. Zion Spartan's on the backside, and they're going to pinch it in. 3v2 here. Looks like Coast could close out the game. Inox is only so healthy. One last shot to Shifter. The red buff.
Oh,
no!
he does it
Shifter
again.
comes up with it, and he gets himself a little bit of HP on the kill. That's a dangerous game to keep him alive. The Nexus is in their eyes. 50 minutes into the game. 160,000 gold for both of these teams, and it's going to be everything that Coast needs to take the win.
It took him a while, but Coast actually comes out of this week with a 2-0 record.